The real issue for country people is one of how do I get to the best doctors? How do I get to the best technology? And often that requires them to have to travel. And some patients who have a lower socioeconomic status, for instance, find that very difficult to achieve. Over the years, we've just watched patients who just thought, if I have to travel to the city, I just won't have the treatment. Medicine practitioner and PhD researcher that has been operating Australia's most remote regional nuclear medicine practices for the past 25 years and founded TeleMed to help service areas of poor access. Regional areas, provide so much to Australia, both in the resources sector and the agricultural sector, yet they don't receive as much in terms of general access to healthcare, education and what have you. If you're a regional community resident who's been diagnosed with prostate cancer and you're 500 or 600 kilometres away from a metropolitan centre, your cancer journey is going to be very, very different to your counterpart who lives in the city. So the real issue for country people is one of how do I get to the best doctors? How do I get to the best technology? And often that requires them to have to travel. And some patients who have a lower socioeconomic status, for instance, find that very difficult to achieve. Sadly, it's not surprising that the mortality and morbidity levels for patients who have cancer are higher, and that's just due to the tyranny of distance, but also just the fundamental issues that we have with our medical system. TeleMed operates one of the most remote nuclear medicine practices, if not the most remote in the world. We like to say our waiting room is also probably one of the biggest in the world at 800,000 square kilometres. Typically at the beginning of the week, we run a fly-in, fly-out service where the isotope starts its journey 4,000 kilometres away in Sydney, flies through the night, lands in Perth at say 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, is prepared at a local radio pharmacy, and then hopped onto the local plane to take it to Kalgoorlie at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And then our clinical team follow that, and we pick up the isotopes and then prepare it in our local laboratory. And then really it's just a race against the laws of physics. So we're trying to make sure we can get as many patients done before the half-life of technetium has gone against us, as it were. So one of the really exciting things about a technetium-based radiopharmaceutical in prostate imaging is that it breaks down the laws of physics issues that we have in relation to PET. So having been able to use the workhorse isotope of technetium with a pharmaceutical IPSMA is very, very exciting. And I think where it happens at the diagnostic end is that we're able to provide that local care to help the urology teams and the oncology teams determine whether there is, say, spread or whether it's all just local. And then going forward, hopefully we'll be able to, with the newer technologies, introduce dosimetry so that we can then one day hopefully provide the therapy side of the equation in remote areas. So that's the next challenge. But for regional remote Australians who have prostate cancer, I would say that we're going through a very promising period of exciting care, and to not to despair that if you do have these type of illnesses that you're going to get lesser care necessarily in the country areas. That there's a great pipeline of new technologies coming through. There's new ways of making it more accessible. So there's all the reasons to look very brightly on the future, and we hope that we can bring all these things to fruition.